Well, I wanted to show that trailer because
I'm excited for that, man.
In the press recently, and welcome to the Nielsen Ratings, our regular weekly treat of chatteasery, where we'll be stepping on the Chattanooga train of chat. I could go full partridge all night with that. Well, we're going to get straight into with Horizon because there was an article.
I shared that to you. I was mad about that article, man.
I was mad about it too, and it's like they're already kind of predicting that it's going to bomb. You know what the press are doing? They're doing the same thing that they did with Waterworld, where they were, tanking it, predicting that it's going to tank. They're saying it's going to have a $12 million opening weekend. One of the sources for that in the UK is, of course, the bastion of truth, and I use that tone ironically, the Daily Mail. Kevin Costner's $100 million Horizon movie set for disappointing $12 million opening after Yellowstone Park puts $40 million of his own money into a project. Well, I'm going to go and see it at the cinema. I'm going to review it.
I will too.
I'm going to show that trailer at the beginning of every Nielsen ratings show until the film opens. So that trailer's going to show at the beginning every Tuesday, because I'm going to do my bit to get people to go and watch this film. Whether you're a big fan of Kevin Costner or not is not really the point. It's just we're not going to see films like this, soon. This is the kind of movie. This is the kind of auteur director. We're not gonna see these kinds of films. And this is I like the quote here. I'm not one of those guys that has a director's cut. The effing movie I make is the director's cut. So that's why.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he's got an amazing lineup of cast in this show. I think it's going to be good, personally. It got a 10-minute standing ovation at Cannes.
Well, he still cares about storytelling, though, Kevin Costner. So what you like about him? He even though he's liberal, he actually doesn't really buy into that we need to score brownie points. No, I want to make a good movie that people wants to see.
Yeah. And who the hell are the Daily Mail to make these kind of comments? Who are they?
Didn't they used to sell that? Didn't they used to sell that special kind of toilet paper called newspapers?
Yeah.
It says here the film has received some scathing reviews and a very low score on Rotten Tomatoes rating. But I mean, who's seen it? Is that film critics?
Who cares about them? They're just shills that are paid to give good glowing reviews to anything that scores brownie points.
Yeah.
No one cares about these people anymore.
Can we get Rotten Tomatoes up for this? Blue, could you get the?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll try and get it up.
Yeah.
Let's have a look, and I'm curious to see what's on there about it.
It'll cause diarrhea to come out of my computer, but I'll still do it. Rotten Tomatoes, Horizon.
41%, Lance. Ooh.
So they're predicting. Well, it's gone up 3%. There you go. They're predicting 12 million. I think this is a film that will do well.
27 reviews. 27. Come on, man.
So 27 reviews. So, could you put the link for that in the chat as well, please?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's saying 41%. Yeah, that is bullshit. Come on. I bet it's going to be a good film.
Well, I'm curious I want to know who's reviewed it to date.
Kids, I would say. Kids have got no idea what westerns are supposed to be, no idea what movies are supposed to be. They've been brainwashed and conditioned into believing that movies are supposed to be certain kinds of things with certain kinds of messages. I don't want a message. If I want a message, I'd send a fucking letter. You know what I mean? I want a movie. I want to be entertained, and this looks like it's really going to fucking entertain me.
Yeah.
I mean, story told as well. It's like something that can really immerse you in the experience.
Okay, so I'm just curious to see what critics are saying. So let's have a look. Stephen Zacharek of Time magazine has done a full review on. Now, do I need to have an account on Rotten Tomatoes to access this full review?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm curious to see it.
It
might be because I've got an ad blocker on, maybe. Oh, hang on a minute. Full review. Okay, I've got the full review of the Hollywood Reporter here. But the full review of the Time magazine won't open for me. Okay, fine. Let's see what Hollywood Reporter has to say. Kevin Costner has been in the saddle long enough to know the difference between big screen feature westerns and miniseries. All these projects have done well by him, blah, blah, blah. So why is this sprawling new frontier tale, Horizon, an American saga, such a clumsy slog? Oh, dear. It plays like a limited series overhauled as a movie, but more like a hasty rough cut than a release ready for format. I'm assuming they watched it at the Cannes Film Festival. Running at a taxing 3 hours, this is first part of a quartet of films. Yeah, so it's 4 films. It's littered with inessential scenes and characters that go nowhere, taking far too long to connect its messy plot threads. Well, those characters may become relevant in part 2, so I'd hold your horses on that criticism.
Yep.
Chapter 2, August 16th. Chapter 3 going into production. Okay. What's most perplexing comes from Costner is the uncomfortably long time the film takes to show sensitivity towards its indigenous characters. We're well into Horizon before the perspective on the native resistance is broadened to acknowledge that their murderous attacks on new settlements are a direct response to the occupation of their ancestral lands. It's very confusing to see a Western in 2024 and find yourself thinking, wait, so the American Indians are bad guys again.
Have they seen Dances with Wolves? Have they seen Dances with Wolves?
Yeah,
how long we had to wait until then, you know?
I know. I don't accept that criticism because if the first part of Horizon is predominantly about the perspective of the settlers, then their perspective will be that the Indians are the bad guys, and they'll be presented as the narrative as such. It doesn't mean that Costner's making that political statement overall. That's written by someone who's like, oh, you've got to show the natives this way from the get-go. Let's have some scenes of them cooking and chasing boars or whatever.
And it's exactly as all three of you have said. You know, there's a kind of you know, they want to score the points. They want to score the points with the audience. They want to show that they're the sensitive ones. That they're the ones that have the conscience,
the righteous ones.
They're exactly. You know, self-righteous, pious, stuck up their own fucking arses, pricks. That's all I can say.
Well, there's a lot
I guarantee you, they're all around about 25.
Yeah. Well, let's find out. I don't know who this, but David Rooney. Okay. Can we? He's a chef. Oh, chief film critic. Sorry, I think it said chef. Can we Google David Rooney, film critic? Let's find out how old he is. I'm not going to read out any more of that because there's a lot of plot spoilers there. But yeah.
So what if it's over 3 hours? So what? And this I think really kind of says it all. You know, this is over a 3 hour slog, right? Well, I'm sorry. You know, if you can't sit there and something hold your attention, you know, either visually or story wise, then you shouldn't be walking in that fucking cinema. I mean, how many movies do we know that are over 3 hours that are classics?
It's Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner's films are pretty long. That's kind of his thing. They should realise this.
Well, I also don't mind seeing an epic. I mean, I know, you know, as much as it's almost guaranteed I'll need to dash to the toilet at least twice. But I'm quite prepared. I'm quite prepared to put up with that. Actually, this is David Rooney, so he's not a wee whippersnapper. I mean, unless he's a 25-year-old who's hit it really hard inside Man with Partying and Drink. So I guess he just didn't like it.
Or was told not to like it.
He's been contributing to Variety since 1991. became its chief Italian correspondent and film reviewer in 1994.
Then he should know better.
Born in Australia, lived in Sydney, London, etc., 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 etc. Well, yeah, I'm surprised actually someone of his age has been that harsh with it, considering the the deluge of shit that we keep getting. Good to see you in the chat, Professor R2. Thanks for popping in. Who else have we got in? We got Nick's in. Melvin, of course. Don't know who this guy is. I'm pretty sure this guy's banned, isn't he? Jamalama, Dan Candy. We've got no Enzo today because Enzo's tired and knackered and he's ghosting me to attend Michael Sarah's stream later.
Yeah, that's the first. Bloody hell. Him being tired, that is a very rare thing.
He was talking at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Behavior. I don't like playing second fiddle to Michael Sarah. Anyway. All right, well, let's push on. But I'm going to keep talking about Horizon until I've seen it. Now, if I go and see it and I don't like it, I'll obviously eat my word. But my gut feeling is it's going to be good. It's going to be at least, it's got to score at least a 7 out of 10, at least.
Yeah.
I probably will hold back my full thoughts on it until I've seen both parts, but I'll definitely be reviewing part 1. Okay, so today I had the pleasure of watching fan stuff, which I hadn't seen before. And this is before we talk about newer releases, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat and stuff will have seen some of these. There were various Star Trek fan films that were made, and one of the better known ones is Star Trek Continues. It's kind of a reimagining, or not reimagining, sorry, a continuation of the original 60s show. They've reconstructed all of the sets, the young cast, most of them professional actors are playing the parts previously inhabited by William Shatner, Nichelle Nichols, Walter Koenig, and so on. So they're playing Sulu, Kirk, Spock, Spock, and all the rest of it. This is a 2-parter called To Boldly Go, and it was the last one that they filmed before Paramount came down heavy on the fan films, said that they couldn't be longer than 15 minutes, and it kind of brought the end to people honoring the original format of the show. But I watched this, and because someone else was doing a stream about it and they invited me on as a guest, so I had it on in the background when I was working today, and I was absolutely amazed at the quality of this production. I've muted it, so there's no audio here for the moment. But not only have the actors got the characters down pretty well, but this whole sequence with this space battle and stuff, and they don't make the effects too like modern. It's still got a very old Star Trek effects feel, but it's a great 2-parter, which ends with the end of the 5-year mission. And man, I really liked it, and I was amazed at how good the script was, and the performances and the production just generally. One of the cast, the actor who played McCoy, was actually on the stream with us today. I've seen some of the other episodes. I've not seen them all, but and then there's also another one called Star Trek Phase 2 that was done by a guy called, I think it's Neil McCauley or somebody McCauley, which is a different series, but also has the original sets. What's really good about the show is it ties into a lot of existing lore. For example, it sets up things like the counselor coming on board, being made a role, which would then go on to be a role in Star Trek The Next Generation. Reconstruction of the original sets. They do a mirror universe episode, which is really good. That's one I have seen. I just wondered if anyone else on the panel had seen any of these or wanted to offer comment.
No, I've not seen them, but I've heard quite a lot about them. But of course, why these are so popular is because these people are genuine. They have a genuine love for the source material.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and some of these fan films, I mean, look, not all fan films, not all fan shows are great. We have to be completely honest about that. They're
Yes,
kind of,
indeed.
they're quite sort of amateurish and what have you. But there are some that are so good, and they really, really do slot in with the existing franchise/shows. Um, but it's all about the level of love and affection that people have for these things, and they get millions upon millions upon millions of views. I mean, millions around the world. And I can't see why companies like Paramount, Fox, and so on have got such a big problem with it. It's because what it basically does is it shows them up. It
Yeah,
embarrasses them. That's why they've got a problem with it, I think.
yeah,
Because they don't have the guts or the balls to, you know, to commission something themselves. And when somebody does something and it's hailed as, better than anything that any professional company that's been in the business for decades and decades can come up with, then
mm,
it embarrasses them.
yeah. I think that's true because I have also Grant Imahara, who sadly is no longer with us, portrayed Sulu in all 11 episodes. That they made 11 episodes of this.
Oh my!
And he was a visual effects engineer for Lucasfilm's THX.
Oh wow!
Sorry, sound engineer for Lucasfilm's THX.
Yeah.
And did various other things in the industry, quite a number of other roles. This actress, Amy Rydell, who plays like a Romulan captain, she is the daughter of the actress from the original Star Trek series who played the original female Romulan captain in the original Star Trek series.
Wow.
And she's playing her mother's role again in this.
I was about to say, she really does look like the original actress as well.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I really like that sort of thing. The way that they've reached out to these people are up for it. And I have seen other Star Trek fan films, including the Phase 2 ones, which were very good. But this stuff, which is that they've got Nicola Bryant, who played Perry in Doctor Who, playing a villain in this, and she's so good. So it's just it's very much the brainchild of Vic Nogna. I'm not sure how you pronounce his surname. We'll call him Vic Mac.
Yeah,
so I don't get it wrong, but it's very much his brainchild. And yeah, and he's the powerhouse behind it. But when I watched their first one, the acting is a bit like but watching these last 2 episodes, which if you're going to watch any, I would watch these last 2 episodes, because what they do is they segue into Star Trek the motion picture, and they do a really good job of doing that. But it's a great show. It's really well done. And it's funny, we were discussing on this other channel, of course it's not canon, and I said, perhaps a bit of a bold statement, but I said, look, I decide what's canon. No one decides that for me. I decide what's canon in the show that I like. As far as I'm concerned, this stuff is canon to me. I don't care what anyone else says. I decide what's my canon. You can decide what your canon is. This is Star Trek canon for me. And the guy who was on that played Bruce, who played McCoy, said that when they premiered this, Nisha Nichols was there, who played Uhura in the original show. He was sitting next to her, and she turned to him and said, "My God, you got this exactly right. It's just like the original show," and she loved it. Apparently,
that's great.
So yeah, there you go.
I love this little filter they've put over the screen as well to really make it look old as well. It's
they do everything. It's not just the filter; they light it the same way.
Yeah, even the costumes look like they were done in the 60s. They are using the modern material that was in the Abraham's Star Trek films from 2009. It's no, they keep very well close to the aesthetic of the 1960s.
Yeah, lit the same way, shot the same way. Some updated visual effects, but not so updated that there's nothing like with the camera going under a ship and coming around and doing like a 360, camera controlled crane type thing that they wouldn't have had back then. They give themselves the same limitations. This is quite a fun time travel one.
Yeah. Plus the fact that it doesn't the visual effects don't look too great means they can sort of get away with what they can within the budget as well when it comes to those effects. And I like
you're right.
These shows had a pretty decent budget though. They crowdfunded them, and they were budgeted sort of around $100,000 each, roughly, I think.
Yeah, is that a lot less than what some of the show episodes cost? After inflation is adjusted.
Back in the 60s, it might, without inflation, it might be around that price. I'm not sure, but I think it's, if you're a Star Trek fan and you've dismissed them previously, I would definitely check out Star Trek Continues. I think I've seen about 7 of the 11 episodes. A couple of them were so-so, just like many episodes of the original series was so-so. But 4 or 5 of them are really good, especially To Boldly Go parts 1 and 2. Got the Jeffries tube there. So they've got all of the original sets, including the medical bay and stuff like that. It's good. Good episode with the Tholians in, and all the characters get a bit more to do, which I really liked. Like Uhura actually got to do quite a bit. I think this guy was in the original series as well. So there's a lot of that.
He played Apollo.
I think he did. I think it's the same actor, isn't it? Is it Michael Forrest? I think he's still around. Yeah. God, he's still going. Yeah, that is him. That's definitely the guy that played Apollo.
Plus, it's sort of like a little callback to when they would get the same actor in for different parts a lot of the time. It's this was the 60s, video wasn't around, so people watched this weekly and that was it. And if the same actor showed up as another character, no one would notice.
Well, I was just amazed at the quality of the writing, first and foremost. The scripts are good, and as Inside Man says, it really does kind of show up. People are getting paid obscene sums of money to produce quite average content for certain IPs and things, which haven't got 1/10 the heart of something like this. So I recommend it. To Boldly Go, those 2 episodes for me are 8.5 out of 10. Great stuff. Gut-wrenching emotional ending as well. Really quite. I was almost tearing up. It was good. So if anyone in chat has seen them, has an opinion on them, please let me know. Scotty's son, James Doohan's son, also plays Mr. Scott in the show. There he is, Christopher Doohan. That is James Doohan's actual son. So he plays Mr. Scott. And what he does as well is he doesn't try and do a good Scottish accent. He copies his dad's Scottish accent, which I thought was pretty good. Worth seeing. Enjoyed it very much. And it was, I was on Anti-Derivative Jill's channel earlier, Keith. That's where I was discussing this. So Dan Candy says he likes them. Sets are amazing. So, anyway, yeah, there was only one season because then Paramount kind of knocked it on the head. But I do recommend. So, Northern, you have seen The Hitman.
Yeah, it's actually kind of pretty fun film, and Glenn Powell really sells it as this kind of very sort of like very mundane, dull, humble kind of guy who suddenly starts to find this very new leash of life when he has to pose as a fucking charismatic hitman for this woman that he's basically tried to stop from going down a dark path, only for it to go tits up. It does.
So he's pretending to be a hitman as opposed to actually being a hitman.
Yeah, because he teaches at university, but he spends his other free time with a team of people trying to catch people, record people who are trying to pay someone to kill people they know. He pretends to be that hitman that they're paying to kill, and once he records them saying it, he gets them arrested. He works with the police and everything, and but one woman who he sees is having a problem with her husband who is abusive, and he tries to talk her out of it and get a new life, but then she starts ringing him and starts asking if she wants to come around and hang out, and he's obviously stupidly actually starts to say yes.
Judging by this photograph, she succeeds, and they do hang out. In the bar.
Yeah, and it's based on a real guy, but it does get a little bit more darker during the ending, and it's totally made up. Even Richard Linklater actually said at the credits that, those murders didn't happen in real life. It was made up for the movie. And
we're on the premiere pictures now. Let's try and get past these.
You will be questioning the ending a little bit, though, the moral implications, but the rest of the film is actually very well done. And Glenn Powell is a really good actor. He fucking sells it.
Yeah, I've rated him in other things. Has anyone else seen this? Blue, have you seen it?
No, I'll watch tonight.
Yeah, I was meaning to watch it today. I'll give you my thoughts on it next week. But I think it looks all right. Netflix produced show, I believe.
Miles better than Atlas, anyway. Miles better.
Yeah.
The woman on it, she's pretty fucking gorgeous. Yeah, she's a stunner.
Yeah. Reminds me of Fletch, this kind of like all these different.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, no way. Yeah, he does sell every single different hitman he has to play as well. He's like, because whenever he researches the person he's gonna have arrested, he always goes, "All right, this is how this person would see a hitman. This guy sees hitmen as a very camp British guy, or he sees them as a very European Russian kind of guy." So, yeah, it's and he sells every character well.
What would you give it out of 10?
Even though the ending will have you questioning the moral implications, I will still give it an 8 out of 10, as I have sort of changed my mind on the ending a little bit. I do wish it could have been written a little bit more smarter. But I don't want to give it away too much, and I'll get more into it next week.
Fair enough. All right, we'll get more into that next week then. Blue, do you have a show or movie you want to bring up?
Yeah, well, I watched it and did a low bar review with Lord Toxic and Northern English. Watched Bad Boys 4.
Bad Boys 4.
Yep. Now, which, to make you guys feel old, the first Bad Boys came out in 1995.
Yeah, thanks.
Like 30 years.
Boy.
I actually used that joke in my review.
I remember seeing Bad Boys 2 at the cinema with my then flatmate, and we came out, looked at each other and went, "Is it me or was that a bit shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it was a bit shit." I don't think I've seen.
Nick's just saying 8 out of 10. That's how many potatoes. Yeah, 8 out of 10 potatoes.
I don't think I've seen Bad Boys 3.
Yeah, it was pretty enjoyable, but it did major money. Part 3 did some serious money at the box office because that was when COVID was shutting stuff down. It was the biggest movie of the year. It almost did like $500 million.
That was the one that was directed by those two Dutch guys, wasn't it? That Drink had on his channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and Michael Bay's got his cameo. Plus, he's still producing it, so he's still there, but he's not directing it. But I mean, you can understand why they make a part 4 after your third movie does $500 million. Plus, the budget on part 3 was only $90 million. So to make $400 million off $90 million budget, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that these last 2 movies are actually trying to evolve these characters a bit more. Like we are seeing like Will start to lose his hot-headedness a little bit and become a bit more humble. And
does he?
That's deliberate.
More between them.
Does he only slap 5 stand-up comedians in the plot, or
there's actually a funny slap scene where Martin Lawrence slaps him, and it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, do you reckon they put that in deliberately?
I'm wondering that because there's a scene where Will Smith is serious, starting to kind of cry, and Martin Lawrence just slaps the shit out of him. Snap out of it, and he was like, and Will Smith starts freaking out, and the way he just keeps hitting him in the face.
That's got to have been deliberate, man.
Yeah.
That near-death experience was weird, though. I was like, they didn't need to have that scene. They could have just had him wake up in the hospital, be all like Jeff Bridges in Fearless, and then have him mention that he saw Captain Duke in his near-death experience, and he told me it wasn't my time. He could have just said that, and that was it. And usually I like Shod, but don't tell.
I do like this the first one where this is a continuation from part 3, because actually if you watch part 1, part 2, part 3, besides the actors, there's no continuity. This actually takes place not right after, but like a year after the third film, which I did like.
Nick's opinion is Bad Boys 1 amazing. I did like the first one. 2 bad. 3 nuclear waste. I'm not sure what that means. Is that like, does it mean it's atomic, therefore it's good, or 4 we shall see?
It's contaminated.
Okay, so give us, without any spoilers, please, near-death experience, etc. Can you give us a basic rundown of the plot of this movie?
Basically, Joe Pants, everybody calls him Joey Pants. He died in part 3, Captain Howard. And what happens
I haven't seen him, but their captain died. Okay, yeah.
And now what happens is there are people that are trying to besmirch his good name, and they're saying he was a corrupt captain, and this is Mike and Marcus trying to clear the captain's name while also being on the run, because by trying to uncover this conspiracy, they start pissing off the wrong people. So then there's a bounty on their heads for like $5 million. So they have the FBI, DEA, and all the gangs coming at these two, and they're out of resources. They're on the run, and it's pretty. At least that aspect is interesting. Where the first time in the franchise, these two have no backup. It's just those two on the run. So I did like that aspect.
Essentially, they're all but criminals.
And it's kind of the subplot where, like, the first 5 minutes in Martin Lawrence, he has a heart attack, and it's but because he has a heart attack, he wakes up and, you know what? I can't die. I'm invincible, and that plays a good part in the film for the comedy aspects. He keeps walking into situations where he should get killed, and he doesn't. And the audience was dying laughing because Martin Lawrence thinks he has a spiritual talk with God, and he can't be killed.
I don't know what it is with this guy on the left, but it's like if Steve Martin had a half-adopted brother who played villains in movies, this would be him. This guy right here.
Alex was okay in it, though. He's generic. He's just basically there to be a villain, but he does well with what he's got.
Yeah. And
that's the kid who was in Lone Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Always plays big hunks. And yeah, he quite often gets killed. And I forget the name of the actor, but he's a very good actor, even though he's got that whole Beach Boy look. He's a very good actor.
Alex Ludwig, is it?
In fact, you know what? I want to know who it is, so I'm going to get the name up. I'll tell you exactly, because there's another film I saw him in, where he's got a much bigger role, and I was like, oh, it's that kid again, and I was really impressed with his performance. It might be. Hang on, let me have a look at that guy that you said. Yeah. Hang on, Alexander Ludwig. Is that the same guy? Yeah, Lone Survivor, Shane Patton. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. And he had a pretty good role in the Hunger Games. But I really liked him in Vikings. Great role in Vikings. But just trying to think of the thing that I saw It wasn't Operation Christmas Drop. He had a nice role in Midway as well, but there was something else I saw him in where I thought, oh yeah, man, this guy can act. His role in Lone Survivor was pretty small, but I think that's the first thing I saw him in. That and Hunger Games, because he plays one of the kind of like hunky, mean villains in that. He was in Bad Boys for Life as well. So it's Bad Boys for Life, Bad Boys 3, right?
Yeah, that was he plays a recurring character from the last film. It's funny because he's a nerd, sits in a chair, and he's like disturbingly built, which doesn't make any sense. He should be fat.
You know what?
Yeah,
he had a pretty good role in The Covenant, the Guy Ritchie Afghanistan film. Which
right.
That's a pretty good movie.
Little banter with Jake Gyllenhaal at the beginning.
Yeah. That's a good scene, and I think that's the film that's the film I'm thinking of.
And this is Tasha Smith, who is replacing Teresa Randall as Max's wife, because apparently, I think you mentioned that Teresa Randall had really bad health problems and could not return to the role, sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. Hope she's all right.
She was a gorgeous woman as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, hopefully she still is. Don't use the past tense when people are still alive, please.
Vanessa Hudgens as well. She kind of does handle herself well in the action, but she just isn't got much else.
That's Vanessa Hudgens. I didn't even realise that's as in from the Thunderbirds movie.
She's actually a pretty good actress. If you've ever seen Paula with her and Mads Mikkelsen, she's actually very good.
No, I have seen her in other things, and she can act absolutely. It's unfair to write her off as a teenage Disney kid, you know. Okay, so guys, what about the action scenes in this? Well directed. You can follow what's going on, or full on Michael Bay with speed and acid thrown in.
No, you can tell they have Michael Bay like isms, but this is definitely their own. And there's behind the scenes, which they show Will Smith, which is in a film where they have this. Anybody can just look on YouTube where they have this kind of camera harness, Lance, and maybe you and Gary would know this stuff going forward. Where he's holding his gun and you see like it's zooming around. He's got this big chest plate where he's shooting, and the camera focuses on Will Smith's face, but then shows the gun point of view. And it's a very interesting take where I've never seen it before. He's walking around with this big harness and shooting guys, but also the camera is zooming around on him to the gun to back to the bad guys. And I've never seen that kind of camera style in the action film. It's very unique. It's only one scene, but it's very well choreographed.
That's more of Martin Lawrence's stomach than he probably wanted anyone to see.
He also looks like he's lost some weight since the last movie, though.
He definitely has his black booty hanging out in the scene. Because I'm seeing God, I can't die, and his ass is hanging out.
In the third one though, he looks like Martin Lawrence ate Martin Lawrence.
He definitely lost at least 20 pounds for this movie. I mean,
Well, that can only be good for his health, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. He was kind of chubby in part 3.
I like this poster. This is very Miami Vice. Look at this.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's as over the top as Michael Bay films, and they're smart. They use drones. They use some kind of drone shots. They have. It's 2024, guys. They have smartphones. They have infrared stuff you expect. But I pull it for Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, still 25,000 user ratings, man. I mean, look, audience score 96%.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Actually, funnily enough, what's the score on IMDb? Let's have a look. 7. Let's have a look at some of the reviews. 8 out of 10. Great comeback. 8 out of 10. You're my bad boys. Now clear my name. Another Bad Boys banger. Great movie. Haven't had fun like this watching a movie in a long time. I definitely hear you there. Almost as good as it could get, but very much more of the same. Lots of stuff in caps, just in case you can't understand. Best of the tetralogy. Good jokes, but same old stuff. Barrel of laughs, action-packed. Cliche deluxe. Best in series. Hopefully no more. It's funny that hopefully no more, but I give it 7 out of 10. An ordinary action film. Nothing more is to be anticipated. I like this direction. Not too awful. Not too awful.
It's kind of my reaction a little bit. I still enjoyed it, but at the same time, I know this is not a great film.
I would agree with that.
Got some 10 out of 10s here.
Yeah.
Let's just click on one of these. I'm curious to see.
10 out of 10. Is it?
Look at that. Fake review alert. That is an AI review. And you know what? You can tell by looking at that. This is a fake review. Let's have a look at another one of these 10 out of 10s. Okay, he's reviewed one other film, or she, or whoever. But
yeah,
still a bit suspect. Still a bit suspect.
Yeah, very suspect.
Artificial intelligence are intelligent enough to review films properly.
Okay. There's another one. First time reviewer, 10 out of 10. I mean, Sad Boys, 1 out of 10. Let's see if this is fake. No, this guy likes reviewing. Well, he's reviewed 5, and I think he's slagged off all of them except for Trust. This movie here. So I feel like he's created this account to give this film a great review, and then slagged off 4 films. Who knows? You can never tell with IMDb. But I think actually it's scoring 7 out of 10 is pretty respectable, though.
Yeah. Which, I mean, let's be honest, most action films people tend to forget. Look at the 80s and 90s had a lot of action films that were what they were that people would probably hate nowadays. And some of our favorite stupid action films they're 5 out of 10 films. Most action films are not high art.
Yeah, you're right.
What would you give this out of 10?
I'd say as a film, it's probably a 5 out of 10 film. As a Bad Boys film, it's like I said, Lance, I would tell you in Inside Man, it's like me saying, well, did you like Fast and Furious 8? Yes. If you hated the first 7, don't go watch part 8. If you don't like Bad Boys, this isn't for you. If you're a Bad Boys fan, this is to me like a 8 out of 10. But most people are just not going to care.
Give me a rating out of 10 for forget about your life popcorn action movie. What would you give it out of 10?
Oh, I'd say a 6.
Okay, all right, that's what we want. All right, cool. Inside Man, your go. Do you have anything you want to shout out or recommend? What 70s blaxploitation movie have you got lined up for us?
I've actually got something slightly different. So
Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah. You starting to reveal a little bit too much about me now.
Oh, okay. I'll be quiet. Right. What we got?
It's a war movie. It's an Italian war
guessing?
movie.
Is this a guessing game?
Its Italian title is Rapesaglio, and it's
Kelly's Hero.
No, its English title is Massacre in Rome.
Oh, Richard
Burton. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about it. I think you can watch this film on Amazon at the moment. I believe. I think it's part of the back catalogue of Amazon.
Right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. You can. There's a massive selection of World War II stuff on Amazon, and there's a whole load of those really shit films that were shot for like, under £100,000 or whatever. But they've got a load of good ones as well, and I'm pretty sure this is one of them, if I remember rightly. This is one of those things that was on the shelves of video stores during the video boom of the early 80s. Massacre in Rome was one of those, and it was sort of packaged to look like an action movie. And it's really not. But Inside Man, you jump in. It's your
Well, basically, obviously, it's set in Rome during the latter part of the Nazi occupation. So we have a lot of the Nazi officers that are kind of on the Allies' hit list. So they're kind of on a watch list to see who's going to be committing any atrocities. So anyone that's going to be tried for war crimes. So everyone's very, very careful about what they're doing in Rome at the time. At the same time, we have the resistance, the Italian resistance, that are looking to knock out as many of the occupying Nazis as possible. And it's a true story. And there's a division of these Nazis that are marching through. So they're being observed by the Italian resistance. And of course, they plant a bomb and they kill a considerable number of the Nazi troops. As a consequence, for every soldier that's killed, they decide that they're going to kill I think initially 10 local people, 10 citizens, and I think then it's up to 30. And it's a true story. It's pretty grim. It's very, very gritty. It's done in a very Italian way. It's got an unusual score by Ennio Morricone. And it's pretty dark. It's a pretty dark movie. It's not something that you'd expect. I mean, Richard Burton, as always, is just fantastic. We've also got Leo McKern in there. But who most people will know Leo McKern from, I suppose, The Omen. Lance and I would know him from something else called Rumpole of the Bailey.
And the
yeah,
Prisoner.
of course, The Prisoner and The Prisoner. Yeah.
I saw him in I saw him in The Prisoner before I saw him in Rumpole of the Bailey.
Yeah, and he plays a Nazi general, and he's trying to get permission to order the massacre of the civilians, and of course it does go ahead.
And you've got various Roman characters trying to prevent this massacre, particularly people in the church from happening. And I'll tell you what, shall we see the trailer for this movie? Let's have a look at it.
German soldiers were killed. 320 Italians are to be shot in reprisal.
Reprisals, General, punish nobody except the victims and their executioners.
The Third Reich is sinking.
We must be sure not to sink with it.
The Germans have gone mad, swarming around town, arresting people.
We didn't ask to come to this filthy place. We came to help, invited by our allies. The Holy Father has chosen to do nothing. We have all chosen to do nothing.
Any man who believes that he can control his own destiny is dreaming an ancient dream. Ancient dream of fools.
But we are on man, humanity, God's creation on earth, not the cogs of a machine. Man can choose. Choose, Colonel.
Well, there you go. That got hold of it. How efficient am I?
It's not a pleasant film by any means.
No.
But it's a piece of history that does often get forgotten. I think the Italian campaign does get forgotten an awful lot. Particularly the Italian campaign. There hasn't really been a great deal about it. There's
a Monte Cassino movie that's just been made, actually.
So I believe, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just shown at Cannes. I'm not too
right.
And it's about one of the unique units that were there. I think it's a Polish film. I think it's about the Polish that were at Monte Cassino.
Right.
And apparently it's supposed to be a really good movie. Yeah, 2020. It's due out in 2025. There's a poster for it. I mean, I'm assuming this is in a world on fire, all they had was each other. So that, yeah, you're right. There's not a lot about the Italian campaign. It obviously features a fair bit in the big red one.
Yeah.
Which
is
of
course we had Anzio as well, which
Anzio.
Yeah. But this, I think, is it's a very, very dark film. It's it isn't a pleasant film to watch, but if you like your history and you like your history accurate, this is pretty accurate. There's also some kind of religious sort of machinations of the church as well that are involved there, and the Vatican, and art smuggling is also kind of featured in there as well. The art plundering that went on. But it's a good film. It's I'd forgotten how good it was, and I hadn't seen this since I was a kid, since I was probably about 12, 13.
I'd be
many years ago.
I'd be interested to see this restored uncut version. And Giancarlo Prete, who's in the shot there, some people will remember, those of us that are a bit older, will remember he was in Ladyhawke with Rutger Hauer.
Of course he was.
Yeah, and he was also in Space 1999, because part of the funding for that show came from an Italian film studio, and they also had exclusive distribution rights for Italian television. But the condition of it, originally they were going to film Space 1999 in Sin City Studios, but Jerry Anderson didn't want to do that. He didn't want to be in Italy for that long, and also they were worried about the American stars. So the compromise was that they would shoot it in England, but a certain percentage of the cast would be Italian. And that's why a lot of guest characters in Space 1999 are played by Italian actors.
I'm impressed that you know that. I'm impressed that you know that. Good knowledge.
I'm a Jerry Anderson fan, so I'm Aaron Sharman is saying, and he's right. History films should be like that. They should tell the reality of the situation. Yeah, absolutely. It is a good but grim film. I think that's a fair. And it's funny because I remember when we first saw it, like many young kids, we would rent something out on the strength of the cover of the video.
Yeah.
And the cover of the video was very much like, hey, this is going to be like Kelly's Heroes, and it really wasn't. And and I've been to all these filming locations. Actually, I've been to all these locations in Rome. It was. But oh god, you know what? I didn't know Peter Vaughan was in it. I would have been too young to know Peter.
That's
Vaughan
right.
was.
Yes, he is. Yeah. On Ringstead, I think he plays.
Definitely need to watch it again, actually. And the fact that there's a restored version of it out, I want to get that version. Fab stuff. Okay. Northern, I know you've got some more, so give us another one.
One called Leroy, Texas, which
yes,
is very sadly not. Yeah, it's very sadly not got much attention. It came out in April, and thanks to Enzo, making me aware of this, I checked it out and it might be my film of the year. It's definitely got a little bit of
It's Steve Zahn, who I absolutely love. Steve, how is it?
He's very funny in it.
We're talking about a film called Leroy, Texas, but we don't have Leroy in the chat. I'm quite disappointed. So Dylan Baker I absolutely love, as well as another actor. Tell us the basic premise without any spoilers, please.
Well, it's basically about a suicidal simp who's treated badly by everyone. He's a proper pushover. He then gets mistaken by a hitman, and very suddenly he gets embroiled in a blackmail case, and he has to team up with Steve Zahn, who's an idiot and a wannabe private investigator, to find out where the blackmail money is. And unaware that there's a real hitman, this guy here, who's on their trail over the payment he didn't receive.
Right.
And he's very convincing as well. He looks like a total square. He picks up a hitchhiker. The hitchhiker starts being threatening, saying, "What if I'm just a lousy killer?
No spoilers, please.
Just the beginning. It's the beginning. It's not a spoiler. It's the beginning."
Wow.
And then, I forgot the actor's name who plays the real hitman, but he goes, "Well, I could be a vicious killer who can kill you right now."
Dylan Baker. Dylan Baker.
Dylan Baker, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of No Country for Old Men in there as well, but it's a little bit more funnier and a little bit more tragic, and it's so well done. The characters are very flawed individuals, but you do kind of care for them, even though they're dickheads. And it's very well acted, and the humor is very, very dark.
Yeah, Steve Zahn was indeed the sidekick of choice for a few years. Absolutely.
He steals every bloody scene he's in, and he kind of he's an idiot, but he's kind of an idiot that sort of really tries to encourage you to take more risks. Because I like him,
John Magaro.
Yeah,
as an actor.
Yeah, he is. You do kind of feel sorry for him, though. Everyone's just treating him like shit, and he's kind of suicidal as well. And Steve Zahn is kind of like the guy that really sort of like helps him develop as a character.
Now, it's not a well-known fact, but Steve Zahn actually got that shirt from the Inside Man.
He did. He did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, did a nice line in those. Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he's very funny in this, and he's so underrated. Steve Zahn, he really is. The guy has mad range.
Next, no spoilers. Just tell us how it ends. Are there credits? I want to see this.
He's a ghost at the end, and also his friend is Tyler.
It was all a dream.
Yeah,
it's all a dream.
Yeah.
What would you give?
Kaiser Soze.
What would you give this out of 10?
I'd definitely give this a 10 out of 10. It's probably one of the best films of this year, and I'm very sad that it's that the only way you can see it is if you pay for it on streaming services. Nearly every streaming service. There's no physical copy so far.
Right. Well, we'll see about that. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely going to watch it. Leroy, Texas. Northern gives it a 10 out of 10. All right. Let me mention something else. As usual, I've seen some documentaries, so I'll do my quick documentary roundup. The most interesting one, and I remember this being news at the time when it was happening, is on Netflix. It's called How to Rob a Bank. And funnily enough, with my current financial situation, I found this very educational. But it's the true story of this guy known as the Hollywood bank robber, who was robbing banks in Seattle, sometimes 2 or 3 on a single day. And he would have a prosthetic face and dark glasses on, had a particular MO. Sometimes there were 2 of them. And I don't want to say too much about it because it will spoil it for those of you that haven't seen it. But it's another good, solid documentary from Netflix. It's just it's feature film length, 90 minutes long. And yeah, it's good. Has anyone else seen it?
No, I've not seen it. It does sound interesting, actually.
Yeah, I
saw
the prompt.
Right on my tree. Yeah.
Does anybody else? And when I say anybody, I guess I mean Blue. Remember the actual real incidents happening? This is between the 90s and I can't remember. Started in 93. I think he started robbing these banks.
It sounds very familiar, but I was, pretty young.
There is a little story that I've got about Rick Baker.
And that the makeup guy.
Yeah. Will he? I mean, he was doing pretty well sort of in the 80s and everything, and of course, American Werewolf in London was the thing that really made him. And I think he'd just done the apes for Greystoke, Legend of Tarzan. And he was back in the States, and he got a call, and this guy said, I got a job for you, and it's it's like prosthetic makeup. And he said, can you meet us at this address? He said, it's going to be very, very well paid. So he turns up at this address, and it's like this, dark house, and it's, like this sort of abandoned house. And it was like, turn up at 9 p.m. So he turns up, and he's waiting there, he's knocking on the door, and there's no one home. And then, like 3 cars turn up, and all these guys come out, open up the door, say, come in, and they're all kind of like thick set, heavies, all suited up. And they said, yeah, we got this job for you. Can you make us look like different people? And of course, he said he was absolutely, unloading his bowels at that time. He said, yeah, of course I can. Yeah, I can, make you look like different people. And, how much will it cost? Oh, no, don't pay me now, only pay me after. No, we pay you now. And they were trying to force money on him.
Right.
And, I need, we need you to come back here, this same time next week. But, this is, it's private, and don't tell anyone. Here's some money to keep quiet. No, it's okay. I don't. All my jobs are private. I'm a very, very private person. And of course, he said, needless to say, he didn't return.
Yeah.
The following week. But he wrote about it. He wrote about it. It's actually, he mentions it in. Do you know the magazine Cinefex?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cinefex. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's all about sort of makeup and special effects in the movie industry. And Cinefex #1, which is like the rarest one, it's all about Rick Baker. So it's like a special on Rick Baker, and that's where he tells the story about these guys that wanted him to make them look like somebody else. But yeah, that's why that kind of rang a little bit of a bell. I wonder if there was any sort of connection, or whether he did go to the authorities at some point and tell them.
No, these guys, that's definitely not the same group, but these guys, they create the mosque and stuff themselves.
Right, gotcha. Yeah.
Again, I don't want to say too much for anyone who hasn't seen it, because once you get into who's behind it, but it's quite. What's extraordinary about the story is not just obviously the amount of things that they actually got away with, but also these were not your typical bank robbers. Make a score, go and blow it all on lap dancing clubs and cocaine, or had a high flying lifestyle, etc. One of them lived in a tree house and was a hippie. It's just it's quite an unusual thing. Talking of the thing you mentioned, there was a big robbery, not the Brinksmat one, but there was another robbery that took place. You'll remember this, Inside Man. It was down in Tunbridge Wells, I think.
Yeah.
And it was one of these warehouses where lots of stuff was stored. And this makeup girl was hired for a job, and she was told it was for a low budget horror film. And it was exactly the same story. She was invited to this location, fairly remote location. They turned up and they said they were the actors. She'd never heard of any of them, and that it was all like fake noses and whatnot. And they went and did this massive robbery. I've got a book about it somewhere. I'm surprised it hasn't been made into a drama yet. And I'm sure it took place in Tunbridge Wells or around there somewhere. It was Kent, definitely. And these two guys ended up fleeing to, I think it was the Middle East, somewhere in the Middle East. And they were arrested in a shopping mall in like Saudi Arabia or something. But very similar premise. And it was actually, it was the makeup girl was the one who, the makeup girl was the one who testified to the police.
Right.
Because she was the one who'd seen their faces,
She
had to go into witness protection. So what's this Toxic has said? We sneak into the UK with 4 firearms and we can take over the country. The British police don't carry guns, but there's an armed response unit close by at all times, and they carry machine guns. So
it might take them a couple of days to respond.
We have pronouns.
I mean, it might take them a couple of days to respond unless you look vaguely like a Middle Eastern terrorist and you're walking onto the London Underground with a slightly padded jacket and they misidentify you, in which case they'll shoot you on the spot. Never forget that. God, that was beyond embarrassing for our country. It was terrible. Stockwell, that happened. So anyway, good documentary. I recommend it. Another one worth checking out on Netflix now. I have also seen more of Scavenger's Reign.
Really?
And I'm on, is it episode 4? It must be. Every episode has somebody going inside a creature or some creature depositing something inside a person. There's a lot of penetration of creatures and organs. It's like, God, this is, but that's really, it's very much reminiscent of a
boy, deep inside.
French graphic novel, definitely.
That's why Vex likes it so much for.
Yeah, Vex was invited on tonight. I don't know where she is. She said
she probably fell asleep.
What's up with that? They did Inside Out last night on Copley's channel.
Yeah.
And man, that's like one of my favorite. That's probably my favorite Pixar movie. That's so should have me on for that because I love that film. And I've shown clips of it every time. But
the pumpkin's critical because he has no soul. He's a pumpkin.
The pumpkin has no soul. Are we talking about Michael Cera again?
Yeah, he's not the big fan of Inside Out. He doesn't like that film. So you
he doesn't like it.
Yeah, so you heartless monster.
That's only because he got passed over for a role.
Yeah,
probably just annoyed with some producer that passed him over for a role. Okay, let's move on. So something else that's happening, and I felt kind of for balance, I felt we ought to cover this. Is Kevin Spacey went on Piers Morgan and did a big interview today. And he actually broke down crying on it as well. Well, we've got a little clip of it on TikTok here, so let's have a quick look at it.
Let's hear how it sounds, huh?
Where do you live now? Well, it's funny you asked that question because this week, where I have been living in Baltimore, is being foreclosed on. My house is being sold at auction.
Really?
So I have to go back to Baltimore and put all my things in storage.
Really?
So the answer to that question is I'm not quite sure where I'm going to live now.
How much money do you have?
None.
What are you going to do?
Get back on the horse.
Interesting. Difficult one. Anybody want to offer any comment on that?
Yeah, I kind of remember the actor saying, who claimed he did it, and honestly,
sorry, mate.
Honestly, I only remember the actor being in Road Trip. I don't think he ever got any work after and was probably trying to make a few fucking quid off him.
Did you see the Channel 4 documentary, Nolan?
No, I didn't. No,
okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't even watch the interview with Piers Morgan. But yeah, that's pretty devastating. That I mean, even though he's found innocent, he still has to lose everything, and it's even when you're found innocent, you still suffer consequences for something you didn't do.
Yeah, and everyone knows about this. We all hate cancel culture, man.
Yeah,
inside man. Go on.
It's like we were saying last week, and you asked a very, I thought, valid question last week. Should that documentary series have been made? And my personal opinion is no, purely because are these people making these accusations now? Hoping that there's that there's going to be something else that they can jump aboard in order to squeeze whatever little money they can, either out of him or out of this story. There's a couple that I just didn't buy it. The two that I just didn't buy, and it was kind of quite uncomfortable viewing. There were certain things that kind of matched up, but then you think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, all of this has been sort of out in the public eye now for some considerable time, and it will be very easy and quick for anybody to come up with their own version of the same story, something that fits with them. That's not taking anything away from anybody that may have been affected by it, that it may have happened to, but as everyone's saying, the guy has been found not guilty, and if he's been found not guilty, we should really kind of let it lie. It's not a case of, right, okay, the guy's down, let's just keep on kicking him while he's down. Let's keep on putting the boot into the guy.
The thing that I didn't get into last week, which I feel maybe warrants some attention, and there may be all kinds of valid reasons that I haven't considered, but the court case with him was quite public and it went on for quite a while. It wasn't like over in a couple of weeks. And also the fact that he was going to court was advertised. It was fairly public knowledge.
Yeah.
So the 10 people who took part in the Channel 4 documentary, and I don't want to de-emphasize the courage that kind of thing takes for someone who's been in a situation of abuse or whatever. So I don't want to take anything away from those people, and I'm neither validating nor invalidating their claims, but I do wonder why, assuming the claims are real, and they may well be, you know that there's a court case going on against your perpetrator. You feel brave enough to go on camera, even though you've got your reputation and your job at stake, etc., etc., etc. Why didn't you go to court and provide statements for the court case? You don't even have to do that on camera. You can actually just provide statements. Even I've provided a statement for the post office scandal inquiry. You know, I know a lot about this story because I've worked in the industry a long time. I've heard a lot of things, and I know people that have worked with him directly. So I've got my own views, which I won't get into here because it's not the sort of thing I do on my channel. But I do question, if you were profoundly affected by this, which several of those people claim that they were, you've got a court case going on. Why not get in touch with the solicitor and submit a statement?
Yeah. At the very least, the police.
Yeah. The police. So I just but
you're right. I think
Leroy's in the chat, by the way. We mentioned you, Leroy, earlier, and we'll tell you why in a second.
But there is something, you know, quite a bit to what you said there. You know, the fact that somebody is quite openly going on a television documentary series that is obviously going to be syndicated, that's obviously going to be going all over the world, going to be viewed all over the world. So they're fine with doing that, but yet they're not fine with going to the authorities. They're not fine with going to the authorities and trying to get the guy arrested. And you know, if somebody perpetrated that kind of crime against me, I can guarantee you that I would have gone to the authorities. That would be my first port of call.
Yeah,
and would encourage anybody that has ever happened to, any kind of abuse or you know, assault like that, to go directly to the authorities and not to put it out on social media and out in the public and then go on to television and make a documentary about it. You know, I think that shows that. For me, I think that shows a lack of integrity, a lack of moral integrity.
We are going into trial by television, aren't we? In our world a bit.
Yeah.
And especially after someone's been found innocent, it's a bit. You know.
It is somewhat fostered by people like Channel 4. And other channels as well. You know, these kind of documentaries are fostered by, you know, these kind of accusations are fostered by these channels because it makes great television. You know, there's no question of that. It does. It makes great television. It makes compelling television. But I think you have to be very, very careful who you start to believe. You know, we all know that. As we said, you know, mud sticks like shit to a blanket, you know.
Yeah.
Always will.
And I know for a fact that there were people that were quite happy to flirt with certain individuals within the industry to the max to see if it will get them somewhere. You know, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does all the time.
It happens all the time, and you know, you put it out there one way or another, that's either a line you're not going to cross, or whatever, and you stick to that. But anyway, yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. But I mean, I suppose the outcome of it, regardless of what happened with the trial, is his career seems to be dead, really, and he's also got people suing him for money as well. So I guess that might mean there's more. Might be more cases to come. Perjury and false. That is true. Absolutely. We can talk about that with the post office scandal.
Can we?
And I just remind everyone in chat to keep it civil, please, and not to start having pops at each other. I don't want to have to hit the delete key again.
Still, it's like the whole Johnny Depp situation. Even though Depp is clear by all accounts, and the public was on Depp's favor, what studio will hire him?
Well, that's an interesting one as well. Funnily enough, Nick Wallace, who wrote the book about the post office scandal, has done a fantastic book about the whole trial with Depp and Amber Heard. And actually, I haven't read it yet, but I'd be quite interested to read it. But man, I mean, I'm kind of glad that the stuff came out about her, so that we knew he wasn't this kind of abusive abusive individual. It was very much that clearly was a toxic relationship, but
and she really shot the bed on her part, didn't she?
Yeah, I mean,
literally.
Literally shit the bed. Literally shit the bed.
But what was quite, I suppose, expected about that was that all but a handful of his close friends abandoned him. All of those people that were sucking up to him and licking his ass for years and years and years, suddenly turned their backs on him. Suddenly, they weren't calling him, he couldn't call them, etc., etc. But there was a handful of friends, Paul Bettany being one of them, and Jennifer Connelly. And Jennifer Connelly, remained very, very close friends with him.
I heard that.
Terry Gilliam as well. He really defended him.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Amber Heard is accusing Johnny Depp of beating her. She's a better actress than I thought.
Yeah, and Vanessa Paradis as well. His former wife was very, very supportive.
I know, and she had every reason to be pissed off at him as well, because he dumped her for a younger man, and she's supporting him. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great the way she did that, because she'd been with him a long time.
Yeah.
And
But
it
was compelling viewing. It really was. The case was very, very compelling, and I thought, as the case was going on, you could see everything that she was doing, everything the way she was acting in court and the way her legal team were acting in court. So I thought it was appalling the way they acted. You could see her entire case just unraveling.
What makes me laugh is that there's still people who believe Amber Heard is innocent. I'm like, are you fucking mental?
Yeah, it's a case of, as I happened to mention last week, you have to go on, the evidence. You can't go on anything else other than evidence and testimony. Right. Okay. I mean, testimony is one person's word against another. That's fine. So even if you dismiss testimony, right, then what you have is evidence. So if a jury isn't convinced that the evidence is stacked in one person's favor or in another person's favor, then they're going to find, they're going to reach their own conclusion. If the evidence isn't compelling enough, they're not going to find that person guilty. And it's as simple as that. It's everything's upon the evidence. If people decide, if your common or garden person decide that they're going to dismiss that and abandon all forms of logic, then I think that probably says an awful lot more about them than it does about the people that are kind of bearing the brunt of their hate and their vitriol.
Did anyone see this series when it was out last year? The Netflix series.
No, because I was kind of like a little bit apathetic to it after. I mean, I'd seen a few clips, and I think that was just enough. Now I don't need to know any more. It's over. let's just hope Depp can make a bit of a comeback as well, because even though he's innocent, this is still gonna be a big fucking stain on him.
Who was that? Just quickly to pop in on this one. Who was? What was the name of the girl that was part of his legal team? She was absolutely smoking.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh God.
Yeah, she was like really tearing into Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Wasn't her name?
Calling it though. Depp was
her
really
name Smokey Foxerton.
That's right. It was Camille Vasquez.
That's it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Hang on, I need to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I need to know is where they are. Say Vasquez, spelt the same way as Aliens. Was it Emily Vasquez?
Oh, this one says Camille.
Camille.
Oh, yeah. Camille Vasquez.
Yeah, Vasquez.
Hang on. So okay, I got an American attorney. Yeah. There we go. Yep. Yeah. That was a good. That was. I remember actually when this case was happening. I remember somebody saying to me, "That's a good choice of lawyer to have in a case like this."
Yeah.
You know, a woman who actually looks more gorgeous than your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's also an executive.
She was actually made a partner after the case.
Right.
It just it sucks. Like people said in the chat, Jay Goodwin or anybody we know here, that Johnny Depp is almost 60 years old and been in the industry for 40 some odd years and had a overall great reputation, great actor, good father, et cetera, and just takes one person to say, oh, well, he may have done things, and half the internet just turns on you because one person accused you of something. And Kevin Spacey, up until this happened, who's ever said anything bad about Kevin Spacey? And just a couple people.
Well,
I
wouldn't say that's quite the same, but
you know what I mean. But it takes one person's accusations, and even if they're false, that's still some people. They'll still have a negative outlook on you just based on that.
Yeah, it's funny. I think towards the end of his life, I think Charlton Heston got an awful lot of hate, didn't he? Because of him supporting the NRA, and being a fully paid up member of the NRA. The fact of the matter is this, right? It's the right for every American to bear arms, right? It's in the Constitution. That's part of the Constitution. It's kind of set in stone. Simple as that. Whether you agree with the rights or the wrongs of bearing arms or not, whether you're against firearms or not, it makes absolutely no difference. Just because somebody supports something that's perfectly legal in the United States, and obviously there is a problem with gun control, and I think it's more to do with not so much the guns, but the kinds of people that are having access to those weapons. Not everybody, but obviously we all know that any knucklehead that has a gun and they're somewhat unhinged, then it's a little bit of a recipe for disaster. So it is really down to the person. It's really down to the individuals, and it's down to tighter gun laws. It's impossible to reverse the right to bear arms. It cannot be reversed.
It's embedded in American culture. It's very different from over here, where guns have not been part of daily life from day one. I get that it's difficult to reverse. I don't know what the solution is, but it's horrifying hearing of another high school massacre, and there'll be more to come.
There's no question of that, and I think, see, where it comes from, where the right to bear arms comes from, is basically when the Brits were kicked out of the United States. That's where that comes from, and it was every American has the right to bear arms in order for the civilians to defend itself should they have another invasion from the Brits or elsewhere. That's where it comes from. That's why it's written into the Constitution of the United States. But it's there, and it's there for good.
I'm glad that I'm not an American this coming election, because what a nightmare. I mean, sorry, I don't normally do politics on my channel, but I will mention this. What a nightmare. You've got a choice between a demented president who clearly his marbles are not all there, quite clearly. I'm not an American, but I just looking on the outside in, I can see that. Or you've got a choice between a narcissistic madman who could quite possibly take the country to war. And I do believe, for whatever you might think of Robert De Niro's speech outside the courthouse in New York, one thing I believe that Robert De Niro said that's true is if Trump gets in, he will never leave. And I actually believe that's true. He won't leave. And also, if he doesn't get in, and I believe he will get in. I believe he will get in. I believe Trump will be president come the next election. I do believe that.
Plus, didn't he actually sort the economy out a little bit more during those first 4 years?
Well, I'm not
I don't want to get too
saying
much into it, but yeah.
No politics. How do I block you? Look, I'm not saying I want him in or I don't want him in. I'm just saying the reality is I think he's going to win. But regardless of what he has done or not done for the country, if he doesn't get in, I think that there will actually be a civil war in America. I actually believe that. So
well, yeah, because Joe Biden is
ahead for America. Fun time. Well, just so much, especially when I was in Texas 2 years ago. I mean, God, just talk to people about it and the division, the conversations. And we don't all agree on politics here. And I'm frequently on other YouTube channels where people express a different political view to the one I personally believe in. But I'm not living in their country. So it's not, I don't really have the right to tell them this is how it should be, because I don't live there. I live here. Any more than I want an American telling me whether Brexit was a good thing or not. What would you know about it? You don't live in the UK. You're not part of the European Union, or were.
Yeah, but we're no better here, though, because right now we've got a turd sandwich in the Conservatives and there's a turd sandwich in Labour.
We're in a very similar situation. The main difference is that we don't have a huge number of militia groups who have vast amounts of automatic weapons. But Professor R2 assures me all will be well. So that's good.
What about the militia groups that are arguing about their pronouns now? They seem to be getting more sided with the media than the militia groups with the automatic weapons.
And now, as an American, I shall regale you with my knowledge and observation of British politics. Yeah, and I do want to keep it fairly light, because we don't want to.
We are getting into a bit. We are going down the rabbit hole here. So
let's not go. We're going to stop going down the rabbit hole. I'm just worried for my American friends. I have a lot of American friends on both sides of this argument, and I am a little bit concerned about their well-being. But to be continued at a later date, if we must. So let's get back to film and television. Northern, have you got any others that you want to recommend?
No, so far nothing. I think I've just
said about Leroy. Leroy, who's in the chat, we recommend this to you. It's almost named after you. It's called Leroy. It's close. Leroy, Texas. And when we were talking about it earlier, we were like, "Where's Leroy? Why is he not in the chat when we're talking about this film?" I am going to watch this. I'm going to watch this very soon. Brad Leland, he's been in the industry for ages. I recognize that face. Fair old man now. Okay. Inside Man, you got another one?
Yeah, I actually watched The Third Man again. Gave that a bit of a rewatch.
Sounds like it's named after you.
Yeah, The Third Man. It's my God, what a masterpiece that is. I mean, directed
now
by
you're
Carol
talking
Reed.
about the one directed by Carol Reed.
Carol Reed, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
there's another version.
Yeah, it really is. It's quite exceptional. It's and this is another one that, much like Where Eagles Dare, the book was actually an adaptation. The Graham Greene book was an adaptation of Graham Greene's own screenplay. As with Where Eagles Dare, the Alistair MacLean's book was an adaptation of Alistair MacLean's screenplay. rather than it being the other way round, as it normally is. But this film, The Third Man, I think it's one of the great British. No, I'll take that back. One of the great movies of all time. Um, Definitely somewhere in my top 20. With that iconic shot of Orson Welles, when he first kind of enters the frame. It's beautifully shot, great music. Joseph Carton is fantastic in it, amazing direction. And the funny thing is, the only times that you actually see Orson Welles is the only time that you actually see Orson Welles. So when you actually see Harry Lime, so for example, that fantastic chase through the sewers, and you see his his shadows and his silhouettes and everything standing under a lamppost and all of that kind of stuff, that was actually director John Glenn, who was dressed up as Orson Welles' character, because at the time Orson Welles was refusing to come back to the shoot from Venice. He was staying in Venice in a luxury hotel at the time.
No way.
Yeah, so they didn't have him for the majority of the shoot. And there was, because I think he was doing, what was he was doing? He wanted to finance a Shakespeare, Othello, that's right. He was doing a movie version of Othello. And he was kind of self-financing that. And he wanted his money upped slightly. So until he got his money increased, his wages increased, he wouldn't go over to Vienna to shoot until they agreed to increase his money. So he was still in the hotel while they were shooting a lot of his scenes. So that's why they were done in silhouette and in shadow. And it was John Glenn, the famous director who directed, a few of the Bond films and First AD.
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only, yeah. So yeah, that was him, because I think he was a first AD on it. He might have been first AD or second unit director, something like that. But it is an amazing film. It's a real work of art. It's a beautifully shot film with some of the great dialogue.
Give us a really. Is that Trevor Howard on the right? It is, isn't it?
Yes,
Trevor
it is.
Howard?
Yeah.
Give us a without any spoilers. Give us a brief overview of the story for those young wee whippersnappers that have never heard of Orson Welles and haven't seen The Third Man.
So it's post-war Vienna, and there's this mysterious character, Harry Lime. His friend comes over to Vienna to look for him, and they can't find him. He can't find him, and he goes from pillar to post to try and find this guy. And he has been told by a few people that he's dead, that he died the day before he gets there. He was hit by a car. And of course, things aren't quite what they seem. I'm not going to say whether it actually was him or wasn't him, but there's a very, very big reveal and twist at the end, and the reason for Harry Lime disappearing.
That's a great shot there.
Up
on screen right now. I haven't seen this in a long time, and the last time I watched it, I was definitely young and my parents were alive. But I do remember it, and I remember really liking it. And
it's just fantastic. And I think it was CBS in the United States. Shortly after the success of The Third Man, they did a radio show called The Lives of Harry Lime. And it's a really good radio show. There's something like 80 parts or 90 parts to this old radio show. And you can find it, people sell it sort of on eBay, it's in the public domain. Anyway, so you can find them online. They're on YouTube, this old radio show. So it's called The Lives of Harry Lime. And it's kind of a prequel series that explores the early days of Harry Lime, and what sort of creates his personality, why he becomes this chancer, this kind of adventurer, if you like. So it sort of maps out all of his character traits before you get to the movie. But it's a very, very good radio series, and some of the stories have been lifted directly because it's in the public domain and put into a couple of TV shows. Yeah, so yeah, all of the stories are in the public domain, so I suppose anybody could quite easily rip those off, should they?
Interesting to note, this is Lord Toxic's acting cameo here in the Inside Man. There he is.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty similar looking chap, and there he is when he's older. It's a time travel movie.
He's putting on B rolls on Friday.
Yeah, there's quite a few sort of British character actors the from that kind of Will Hay period.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is our man who played M, right, in Bond.
Bernard Lee.
Yep.
That's Bernard Lee. That's Bernard. I'm pretty sure that's Bernard Lee.
It is Bernard Lee.
Yeah,
it is Bernard Lee.
Only Bernard Lee knows how to wear his beret correctly. And our chap on the left here was a very well-known British character actor. I forget his name now. But yeah, really good character actor. Not Michael Gough. He was before his time. But yeah. You know what? I've got to watch this again. I'm glad you brought this one up because I haven't seen it in a really long time. And I think also as a filmmaker, it's really good to see these things again.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, this is you know, for any young person that's getting into film, you know, if you really want to know, you know, the kind of blueprinting shots for yourself, this is it. This really is your blueprint. It's got everything.
In fact, this shot I saw recently in a horror film, very much replicated. Leroy mentioned Trevor Howard in Mutiny on the Bounty. That's my favorite version with Trevor Howard. That is my favorite. I like the version before that as well with that big bulky actor. I forget his name. Who played Captain? Is it Captain Blythe?
Blythe.
Yeah, Blythe. But yeah, I do like. I really like the Trevor Howard one. I remember seeing that on a Sunday afternoon. I kept saying to my dad, "Why is the captain so mean?" Because I didn't understand the movie. I thought these are the British; they're all good guys. Surely, when are the bad guys turning up? You know, it's like.
But isn't it funny how that story has been rather twisted by history, or rather, let's just say, twisted by movies? It wasn't quite as clean cut as that, and you know, Bligh wasn't quite the monster that he's been portrayed. But of course, in any movie, you know, we have to have a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah, yeah, because the real history of it as well is by the time they came back to the West Indies or wherever it was,
Pitcairn Islands.
Yeah, most of the sort of rebels who'd taken over the ship had died. Because it took them ages. It took them many years to come back. But one of them had like I think there was one that was maybe still alive, and he had like a massive family. He had all like these children, and he'd fathered all these kids, you know. The Inside Man recommends The Third Man.
Yeah. So if nobody's seen it, if you haven't seen it, I mean, please don't dismiss any black and white movie. I mean, these are the things. You know, these are definitely, and I'm sure everybody here would agree. You know, these filmmakers are the shoulders, are the giants upon whose shoulders today's filmmakers stand. And you know, without these kind of filmmakers like Carol Reed, and David Lean, etc., you know, we wouldn't have the kind of classic movies that we love. Well, I would say today, you know, in recent years, let's just say, rather than today. You know, it's the kind of movie that endures.
Yeah, very much so.
You know, you're mentioning this about how they kind of just made it a bit more black and white on the Bounty, but there is one film that's very similar, and it isn't totally black and white with two opposing sides conflicting, and that is Crimson Tide. Yeah.
Crimson Tide is a funnily enough, I talked about that on a stream, I think last night. It's an amazing film.
Yeah, and this is about two officers conflicting, and they do end up kind of finding common ground, despite their differences.
Yeah.
I actually cited Crimson Tide as an example of a film that we haven't seen many films of that quality in the last 10 years, for example. This is a film I watch at least once a year, and I gave serious thought to doing a stage play of it, where the whole set is like a side-on split of the submarine on stage.
Interesting.
But I thought, no, you've got to do this. This would have to be at the National with their, the opening of the film would be like the conning tower, and the officers in the of the stage play, and the officers in the conning tower, and it would be facing the audience forward, and then the whole stage would rotate, and that's when you would see the rest of the set. The rest of the set would all be revealed, and the whole set would be like a side-on of the submarines. But there's some interesting comments in the chat tonight. But yeah, it's a great Crimson Tide is a great movie.
Yeah,
really do like it. God, hope they never remake that one.
Gene Hackman would be the evil white bad guy. He wouldn't if they remade that.
So I have got a couple of bits of news about new guests and things. Today I spoke to an actor who I've known for quite a long time. He's not a massive fan of doing interviews, but I have convinced him to come on the stream. So he's going to be doing an interview with me on the 3rd of July, so just before Independence Day. And this is Lawrence Monason. And I often incorrectly pronounce his name as Lawrence Monsoon. I don't know why, just sort of stuck in my head. But who remembers the film from 1985 with Cher called Mask?
Yes. Yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Yeah,
Eric
that's right.
Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
So Eric Stoltz had a best friend in that film who he was going to go biking around Europe with.
Yeah.
Called Ben. And the character of Ben was played by Lawrence.
Oh, wow.
He also had a part in And the Band Played On. He's done episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. Here he is on the right.
Fantastic.
So he's more or less, at the minute he's kind of out of the industry, but he's had a very, very long and varied experience of working in the industry. That's with the girl from Bill and Ted, I think. I think that's the girl from, Diane Franklin. One of the princesses from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Last American Virgin. There you go. And she was also in Better Off Dead. But again, he's not a big fan of doing interviews, but he gave me a call today. We chatted for about half an hour, and there he is in Star Trek Enterprise. Not the best picture, but he's going to come on July.
That's great.
So,
that's great. That's terrific.
Really looking forward to having him on because he's a fine actor, absolutely fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And I followed his career for a while. He's got 50 credits on IMDb, but also done quite extensive stage work as well. So he's going to be coming on the 3rd of July. I've got 2 other interviews lined up that I don't have dates for. So until I've got dates locked in, I'll probably best just not say, because I don't want to get into a Michael Ironside situation again. But hopefully they'll be locked in pretty soon. Has anybody got anything else they want to plug or mention? Film or TV wise?
There is just one more thing. First, actually, two more things.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a short film that's on YouTube at the moment. It's called The Candidate. If you haven't seen it, it's a really, really good short film. The Candidate, and you will recognise in particular one person. You recognise the secretary that's in it. Aside from that,
do you play the sexy secretary?
I do. Yeah,
man in it is what you're telling us.
Yeah, just in a thong and a grass skirt.
Is this the one that's got Meghan Markle in it?
That's the one. That's the one. It's very, very good. It's very good.
Okay, so I think it might be. Hang on. No, that's not it. This is a different one. Damn, man. Do you know if you put Candidate short film into YouTube, quite a lot of different movies come up.
It is the Meghan Markle one, yeah.
What year is it made? Do you know?
Hang
on, let me put Megan on the search parameters and just want to get the link up for people. Okay. I've got the trailer for it. Do you want to get? I'm sure we'll be able to find it. But when was it? When was it filmed?
Oh, crikey! I think I'm gonna say in the early 2010s, maybe.
Okay, so this is pre-Royal Dynasty.
Yeah.
Timeline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chuck it. I'm gonna chuck the link for it.
It's actually a very, very good short film, and there's some excellent camera work in there as well. Really, really good camera work.
Melvin's put a link up. This is the trailer for it.
Oh, well done, mate.
Melvin's put a link up. That might be for the whole movie.
Thanks, Melvin. Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Melvin.
So Leroy has some news this week. 3 of my newest novels are in the top 100 in Kindle on Amazon. That's no
Nice
small
one.
achievement, mate.
Well done, mate.
Check those out under Leroy Peters if you like your Wild West stuff.
Yeah.
You know, lots of bad guys getting shot by good guys, that kind of thing.
I love all that stuff. I love it. I'm going to have to check some of those out, to be honest with you. It really is my bag. So yeah, I'm going to have a look for those. Funny enough, the final thing that I was actually going to mention is a book, and it's called The Best Seat in the House, and it's by your friend, Mr.
You're talking about David McGiffert.
David McGiffert. Yeah, it's a terrific read.
More than happy to plug that again.
It's absolutely fantastic.
I don't have a copy of it yet. I keep meaning to get one, but finances being what they are. But,
it's brilliant. It's
brilliant. I will get a copy of it eventually. Best seat in that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know who we're talking about, David McGiffert is one of the most experienced first assistant directors in the industry. He did all 3 Back to the Future films, to name but a small number of his extensive resume. Here is the book. It's available on Amazon.com and .co.uk. Introduction by Cameron Crowe. That's him on the set of Back to the Future 3. So you might want to check that out.
I mean, I'd even go as far as to say that he's probably one of the legendary first ADs. Wouldn't you? I mean, he really is.
He's up there with Dave Tomlin. And,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, he's yeah. I mean, and he retired before he should have done, to spend more time with his kids. There's a great interview with him on my channel, and of all the guests, he gave us the longest interview.
Yeah. It's a bloody brilliant interview. It's if you haven't seen it, you've got to check this interview out. It really is good, and you'd be amazed. I was completely amazed when he mentioned his age as well, and what?
And I think part of the reason that he looks so good and is in fine fettle is because he retired when he did to focus on the career and the life of his 2 young daughters. And
that's right.
Such a heartwarming story that you don't often hear. I gave up my Hollywood career to look after my kids. That's not a common headline.
No,
let's be honest.
but what a lovely guy, and it's a brilliant interview. You know, it really is a superb interview. But if anyone gets a chance of grabbing that book, it's a fantastic memoir of one of the real. I mean, I would say that first ADs are pretty much unsung heroes of Hollywood.
They are.
But it's a memoir of one of the great unsung heroes of Hollywood. It's superb, superb.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you were able to remind me to plug that, because I do like plugging stuff of people that have been on the show, so to speak. Now, I've been told under no uncertain terms that apparently we have a movie trailer that we have to watch and get the panel's reaction to, live reaction, I assume. So I'm not going to tell anyone what it is. I'm just going to make sure I grab the trailer and then we're going to watch it. So I don't think it's going to take me very long to get hold of this, as the trailer woefully is quite short. I'm getting it now. So just give me 2 secs. While I'm grabbing this, Northern, why don't you tell us what you got coming up?
Well, I have just premiered my review of Atlas, and I'm currently in the process of doing my Bad Boys Ride or Die review. And on Friday, me, Blue, Critic Al, and Fandad Menace will be talking about Taxi Driver at 7 p.m. my time.
Yeah, it's funny. That's a film I've never wanted to see again. I saw it at the cinema.
Wow.
At a special screening.
That's one of those films I couldn't help but watch again and again for a long time, because there's so much on there.
I mean, there is, but I just was like, I don't want to see this again. Very good film. Don't want to see this again. It was, that was it.
What about Falling Down? Will you rewatch that?
Oh, I've seen Falling Down. I saw Falling Down at the cinema twice, and I've seen it many times. And I've also got a copy of it. Apparently Aaron Sharman has a listening device in my office, because he can tell that we might be about to watch a trailer for something called Mummy Shark. This definitely isn't Blue Collar Loser's idea, as can be told from his maintained composure that he had nothing to do with this whatsoever. All right, so let's have a look at this trailer then, shall we?
Listen, you're not going to like what I have to say. It's the only story I know, the truth.
These sharks engineered the Great Pyramid at a time when we were still using spears and flint blades. We have no idea how far their technology reaches.
You act like there's an army of these things waiting to attack us.
A mummified shark?
I'm not convinced our weapons can even phase it.
I hope you're wrong.
That's up there with the Thing the Musical, I reckon. For
oh no!
Somebody said, "Finally, a return to great practical special effects."
I will pay money to see this in theaters.
I feel this needs more analysis. Didn't know Philip Seymour Hoffman did one more film before he passed away, or is that cheap? Is that cheap rent, Philip Seymour Hoffman? I'm not sure. The acting was exquisite. That's certainly one way to describe it, for sure. Oh, man, I mean.
I'm watching Enzo. I'm not gonna be sober, trust me.
Hang on, I think we need to put this back on. Let's this warrants further examination. Can't leave that there. let's keep us on the stream this time.
What was the budget?
I'm going to mute it because I mean, could well already be flagged for copyright. Done a couple of trailers tonight. I mean, I think it's under fair use. But according to the history of this movie, first of all, sharks actually built the pyramids, which I was hitherto unaware of. This is a great set. Obviously, they built this, and by that I mean in a computer with software from a 1990s Tomb Raider game. What else we got here? Oh yeah, that's the stuff that reveals that sharks did in fact. How come this fishing net thing is still there? Is that actually the shark, or what's happening in this shot?
It just looks like something they paint on fucking walls. It does not look like something that's been carved or chiseled or anything. It's a
Northern. I think you're missing the subtle effects nuance of this shot. I think
yes, I must try to be a bit more smart about this.
Yeah, bear in mind this is a highbrow intellectual film. Here's discount Philip Seymour Hoffman. Wait, I need to see this actor's credits. Let's find out who this person is. Let's get Mummy Shark into IMDb and get the required information. Because I did notice that the delivery of the lines were okay. So Mummy Shark, no reviews yet. Directed by Mark Polonia. Stars 3 people according to this: Jamie Morgan, Jeff Kirkendale, who I think is this guy, and Tim Hatch. Yeah, pretty sure this is Jeff Kirkendale, who's an independent digital filmmaker and actor from upstate New York. Hang on. I think we have to. You guys have to see this. So we'll just. I'll tell you what. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's go through the rest of this trailer here. So we've got all the interesting explosions. Okay. Oh, that's the shark coming to life. Oh yeah, there it is. I like this random cut to aircraft carrier footage.
You've ripped that off fucking Hot Shots, haven't they?
It's like random cut to whatever, you know. That's all a bit like what's happening here. Try and make it look big budget. And then I love this. This is like, where's this? Is this shot like by the hedge in the back garden? Yeah. Or
our technology can't hurt it.
Definitely not green screen. It definitely
lady who is sort of scientist professor type / girlfriend, presumably of somebody who made this, and
you could tell because she has glasses on.
Vaguely military man with beard who may or may not be special forces due to the fact he's got a sock on his head and is wearing black camos. There's another shot from presumably a different movie. That might just be AI. Oh, yeah, these guys are in the. I missed this bit. No, that's definitely Jeff Kirken. What's his name? That's not a bad CG helicopter. That's all right. It's not terrible.
Sure.
Better than the Flash.
I mean, okay. Now, wait. We need to go back on that shot. Okay. Now, explain to me what's happening here. Is this like sock puppet shark or Sharkticus?
I'll give credit. It is actually fucking there compared to most movies.
Yeah. Creativity is born from lack of funds. I'm Sharkticus, says Jay Goodwin. The rest of chat, you know what to do. There's 16 of you in there. I want 14 more of those. So real it's falling apart on the screen. It actually did move its mouth.
It's coming right for us.
Well, there's a close up. Look at that. That's hand puppet.
Yeah.
Oh!
His mouth is coming close to the screen. No.
What's going on with this background? Where is this guy? Is this a green screen backdrop and what is that? He's supposed to be underwater? And how come the shark is flying in the air? Or is this in the pyramid? Or what's going on here? This is just like this has probably got nothing to do with anything. Yeah, that's terrible.
That's all their budget.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
See, one of the things that I like about these types of movies, what I like about these types of movies is they know exactly what they are, and they really genuinely know that the audience aren't going to take them seriously because they're not taking themselves seriously.
I mean,
it's on Vimeo. If you've got a Vimeo account, you can watch it for free.
Ooh.
Well, we might have to report back on this one next week.
I will buy this for you guys.
It's probably already on pirate, Okay, that's a terrible mummy shark. So I'm guessing one of the key people responsible for this work of genius is our man here. And I like his pictures because look, check this out. Look at this. Now, that's definitely known as a bad wanking hand accident waiting to happen. But that's pretty cool.
Depends what you got. Depends what you pack.
What's going on with the stickers on it and brains? That might be from the shark film. I'm not sure. Here's the boat from. He's younger there. So I'm guessing. He shot House Squatch. Oh, Cannoli needs to see this movie. Check out The Dead Priest, or is that is that a priest or is that a window washer? Can't quite
This
tell.
is the novelization of the film as well. They actually had a
A
novelization.
novelization based on the original
excellent
screenplay and Mark Maloney and Aaron Drake. Oh, okay. So there's a book.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Oh, mate. I feel like we need to get this guy on the channel.
Yeah.
This is like what's his name? Neil Breen, but he's like another Neil Breen. But
well, I don't think he doesn't seem to be trying to creep on hotter, younger women though. So
I was waiting for that shot to come up. So he's produced 20 films, directed 15. He's been an actor in 77. Including Revenge of the Empire of the Apes, which I'm guessing is an asylum, Cocaine Werewolf, Cocaine Shark, R.I.P. Van Winkle, Part 3. So there's a Part 2 and a Part 1 of R.I.P. Van Winkle. How many times does Van Winkle die exactly? Sharkula, Amityville in Space, Sister Krampus, Jurassic Shark 2, Aquapocalypse. So a lot going on in that title.
Oh, good luck to him. I like these kind of people.
No, absolutely. Because it's like the sort of, Roger Corman go out and make it. Good luck to him. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any self-inserts like with Neil Breen because Neil Breen always has to have himself as some kind of messiah, doesn't he, in his movies? It's very.
It's always uncovering some kind of conspiracy, or as you say, he has to have a younger, hotter woman that just happens to have. I'll keep it clean. No bra on. Let's just say.
Well, these are his
crawling over him.
These are his directing credits. I'm surprised he did R.I.P. Van Winkle Part 2 and 3, but not Part 1 apparently. Perhaps the director of Part 1 is R.I.P.
Yeah.
Producing several other films, some of his own, but not producer on all of his own. Of theatre and bikinis.
It would be fantastic if you could get this guy on. Really would.
You know what?
Really
let's try and get him on.
He's on Twitter. It's called Wild Eye Releasing. I'm looking at this on YouTube right now.
Of theatre and bikinis. This is a film I feel we need to see.
Yeah.
It's just got lots of girls in bikinis in it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing these two are lesbians as well. I don't know. I was getting some.
I don't know. It's we're going back to 2006. That hadn't been imposed as a mandatory storyline at that time. So, he's on. Did you say he's on Twitter?
Yeah, because if you click on his YouTube, it says it's called Wild Eye Releasing. I click on Twitter, and his profile on Twitter is Wild Eye Releasing. I'll show you a picture.
Wild Eye Releasing.
Yeah, let me say.
Okay. That's hey, well, he's an independent filmmaker, and my channel's all about supporting independent. I mean, you know, yeah. Well, no, we'll let's get him on. He's up for coming on. He's very welcome.
Apparently, 2025.
He sounds great.
I want to talk dark special effects.
2025 is he's got Were Shark coming out next year.
Why
not?
Right.
Fantastic. So for those people that want to follow his works or work, here we go. So Wild Eye releasing Shark Exorcist 2 Unholy Waters. That's actually a pretty cool cover. I like that. Priest in the boat with a flaming cross, and let's throw a helicopter in there because why not?
That's kind of a throwback to the 80s because you get these VHSs that had really great like front cover art, but the films would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
2025. Were Shark.
I'm there. I'm there.
Hang on. This is the website. This is his company. So, Apocalypse Road, right? Apocalypse Road. Remember, I mentioned that the other day when we were talking about like the Mad Max ripoff and whatnot. So, our movies are available everywhere, like literally everywhere. I think we need to see a trailer for Apocalypse Road. Can we get the trailer for Apocalypse Road? That would be good to watch. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. So yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, just quickly. Unfortunately, I've got to duck out now. I'm afraid.
All right, buddy.
No worries.
Right.
We're going a bit later.
Thanks so much for having me on.
We're going a bit later than planned, simply because we're so enamored by this filmmaker's career. Is there anything you wanted to plug before you go? Is there anything you wanted to plug before you go? I know we're back on with Band of Brothers on Sunday.
We're back on with Band of Brothers on Sunday. If you haven't seen it, try and catch up with all the other episodes of that, and then catch up with it on Sunday. We're doing episode 6, Bastogne, which for my money is probably my favorite episode. I think
it's a hard one.
Yeah,
hardcore.
But but thanks so much for having me on. I always appreciate you inviting me on, and it's great to see everybody. It's great to see you guys, and thank you to everybody in the chat as well. And thank you for sticking.
Okay, mate, we're going to watch the trailer for Apocalypse Road so that you don't have to, Inside Man.
Thanks ever so much, and I'll see you soon, guys.
Hey, buddy.
All right, take care. Bye.
It's only a minute long. Thank God.
All right. Okay, here it is. Let's crank up the volume a bit.
Unpredictability. You murder innocent people. We have 6 bullets left.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know exactly what it means. So this is the end of the world.
What is that? I don't know.
You actually think there's somebody out there that's going to protect you from all this?
I applaud your bravery.
I decide when I die, not you.
And look at you now.
You know what? I actually quite like some of the shots in that trailer.
It doesn't look great. It
looks like a really good student film. Like students got their shit together and shot something decent. That actually looks right
with 6
for what it is. Don't accuse me of going soft now. But
I actually agree. I was like, wait. I thought this was going to be some very schlocky looking, cheaply made, badly made movie that we can have a laugh at, but this looks like it could be actually semi decent.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
I'm just being generous here. I don't. If I was going to be real generous, I would have said half decent.
Well, clearly, horror is the name of the game. Never Leave Alive looks interesting. Can you, Blue? Can you find the trailer for that? Never Leave Alive. Quite like to see the trailer for that. These are very much kind of the kind of film that's like sold on a poster. But you're right. It's kind of Roger Corman film of schoolmaker. Film of sorry, God, what's wrong with my brain? School of filmmaking. Ebola zombies. Oh my God, Ebola zombies. Is it not bad enough that they have Ebola? Once they get in, you don't get out. Ebola zombies. Okay. Sharkenstein. There's Shark Exorcist. I thought the other poster was better. Raiders of the Lost Shark.
Cover's actually pretty fucking cool as well.
Queen Crab. Do you think Queen Crab has the same special effects as cocaine crabs from outer space, or do you think they have a better crab effect?
Wait, the Amazing Bulk, really?
The Amazing Bulk.
Oh my God.
That's definitely borderline copyright. Jurassic Prey. This is kind of like Asylum almost. It's sort of.
Oh my God.
But man, hey, if this guy's doing this for a living and he's making money, good on him. He's got more credits for directing and producing than I have on IMDb. So you find that trailer? Let's have a look at this.
God,
something tells me there's going to be a lot of stock footage in this trailer.
Get loud, huh?
Among its many passengers was celebrity hunter and philanthropist Fred Rainsford.
Are you okay?
Oh, this is like Uncharted. Okay.
You two live here alone?
Yes, we live on the island.
Thanks for taking us in.
Well, you're the only survivors.
A lot of good people were lost. You hunt?
I do. Mr. Rick Rainsford. I just want to play a game.
So this is like Hard Target meets Uncharted.
You live.
I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get you off this island. Game on.
You know what? I reckon we should do a stream where we review like 4 of their movies. We should pick like 4 of their films.
Oh boy.
And yeah, the acting is of a certain level. That is very true. Swamp Head, probably the sequel to Swamp Bath. Yeah, I'm there was a trailer on here. There was a movie on here I definitely want to see the trailer for before we call it a night. If we can find it. Let me see. Yeah, I want to see. Can we see if there's a trailer for Queen Crab? Guess if you put Queen Crab, Wild Eye.
Careful what I type in there.
There's the one you're looking for right there. So see what there is.
It's definitely easy to find. Yeah, it's Wild Eye.
You found it?
Yeah, the studios. It's the same studio, so it's not that hard to find. There you go.
All right, let's have a look at the. I'm checking my email to see if I've been flagged for copyright shit. It'll probably come in. It comes in afterwards after you go live, though, right? So
the Moth trailer.
All right, so look.
Let's see.
Queen Crab. All right, here we go. Queen Crab, everyone. Mm-hmm.
The realm.
It's the farm from Saving Private Ryan.
In a world. Now it's time for mankind.
Oh, CGI hole. Be the main course. Oh, this crab looks way better than the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, they actually did like a stop motion crab. Ah, gotta see this. Gotta see this. Really, there's more than
David
one.
Schwimmer, then.
She has awakened.
Angry.
You're going to get to hunt something you'll never forget.
And that's the best acting line for the trailer they had.
Jesus.
You know what? We've got to do a Wild Eye special where we're going to talk about. That's got to be one of the films. That's going to be
I'll
better
try,
than
I'll try to find Moth for Jay Goodwin. He keeps saying look up Moth. So
stop motion crabs are the best kind. Did you say there's one called Moth?
yeah, I'll try to find it.
Okay, this stream's going to get proper like blasted for copyright probably because we put so many trailers on. But
Moth.
You used to be able to show trailers; it was all fine, but now they're like proper.
Well, these are. I'm guessing. Well, maybe because this is a smart company. Hopefully not.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about their stuff and promoting it. We're saying we're going to like review and watch some of this shit.
I'm subbing to these guys. Yeah, look, it's called the Mothman. Shit.
As opposed to the Mothman prophecies.
Sure, let's.
I see it. Yeah, Moth. Yeah. I see it.
I got it ready.
All right. Okay. All right. This is the last one, guys. Then we're gonna call it.
About this. We get Mothman.
All right, Mothman. Here we go. Oh, it's a period piece.
1966.
Oh, this is like the trailer for the Mothman prophecy.
Perhaps some kind of military experiment.
Yeah, they're ripping it off.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
22 sightings.
Nobody?
No.
Oh, this is like Blair Witch.
Is anyone around there?
Yeah, it's a found footage film, isn't it? Yeah, this is Blair Witch, basically.
Music's pretty good, though.
I am so startled.
Moth.
Yeah, I'm less excited by this. I'm not right, but the giant crab one I got to see. I got to see the giant crab one.
The Crab Queen.
Blue, do you want to play anything before we?
Yeah, an hour and a half. So the Pumpkin King. We're going to talk about Collateral. Tom Cruise's.
Yeah.
Some people would say his best film, and our buddy Northern English and our friend Lord Toxic, they broke it down. And very excited.
I think it's a great film. Yeah, I might put on it. He sent me the link.
Yeah,
but I am on a script deadline at the minute, so and I may pop in. I might pop in for a little bit.
Yeah, and tomorrow you're doing The Acolyte.
We are doing The Acolyte tomorrow. We are doing The Acolyte.
I think it's risky.
Yeah, we're going to do episode 3.
This is the flashback episode, I heard.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, some people have seen this episode already. Word on the street is not good, but
it's going to change Star Wars forever.
What? So that Jedi are going to be evil?
Piss off more white guys, won't it?
I mean, I don't have a problem with some Jedi committing a crime once a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a cool concept for a story, and that actually, maybe the girl who's committing the murders is on the right side, and but obviously she's being loads. There's some good story concept in there. It's just that it's like the scripts are written by 7-year-olds. But we'll see. 2 eps in so far. So lame. But let's.
I'm guessing
let's
the script is this happens, and then this happens, and then that happens, and then this happens. I'm guessing.
It is very much like that. I'm just going to delete Mummy Shark trailer off my computer. I feel I don't want that to be found on my computer. If I pass away suddenly.
What was you watching?
Yeah, just I've got my pride. Right. Okay. Well, so don't forget to. Yeah, we'll be doing a little. We'll be doing a little stream on The Acolyte. Probably won't be a long stream. It turned out to be longer than I thought, but it's supposed to just be a real short stream. Me and Blue quickly. Then next Monday we've got House of Dragon. We're going to be reviewing.
Yep, I'll try and get that out.
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing. Yeah. We're going to be reviewing House of Dragon every week. I've been, by the way, actually on that subject. Before we go, I finally cracked open my Blu-ray, which is why it's not behind me on the shelf at the moment. And I've been rewatching season 1. Season 1 is like way better than I even remembered. I remembered it being good, but I've only watched it once all the way through, and if you watch it again, you pick up on so much more stuff.
Especially
There's
with alcohol.
so much nuance in it. It's so good. It's way better than the original Game of Thrones, actually, I think.
Some people said that, Lance. It's
yeah, a really, really good first season. Absolutely dynamite first episode.
Because you got characters acting and talking like fucking grown-ups, and instead of sounding like they're being written by some bloody college student who's not been out in the real world.
My main gripe with it, and my ex-partner agreed, that we absolutely loved the two actors who played, the two main girls. We loved the two younger versions. And they're in the first 4 episodes, and then of course they age, and they're played by older actresses. And while the older actresses are absolutely fine, I just preferred the younger girls, especially the girl who played the one with the blonde hair, who goes off flying on a dragon and stuff like that.
Her characters are Rhaenyra.
I actually didn't like her. I just thought she was always. She kind of came across as a bit of a spoilt brat. Who's who
no, that's character. But that's
probably is. Yeah, but
she's a self-entitled royal spoiled brat. But the actress nailed it. She was so good. I think I found the leap with the other actress just was a bit too much of a stretch for me. But listen, it's just purely. They're both good. It wasn't like the two older actresses aren't as good. They're great. They're wonderful actresses. But
Matt Smith as well is brilliant. Matt Smith is absolutely. He's just
Matt Smith.
He's such a slam ball in it, but he plays it so well.
You can also tell he's like proper enjoying himself.
He does. He really gets into the role.
And I mean, Paddy Considine is great in it.
I wanted to ask you, Luke, that I kept saying was it Constantine or Constantine? I kept saying Paddy Constantine.
No, it's Considine.
And to you guys, he's a pretty big name over there, right? Because I never heard of him.
Yeah, he's a good director as well. Check out his film Tyrannosaurus. He's very talented.
I met him before he was famous, when he was working with Shane Meadows. I went to see Shane, and Paddy was in his office, and the three of us chatted for about half an hour.
Yeah, he's in Hot Fuzz as well. Blue is in.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the Andys, and he's in World's End as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know Matt Smith from Doctor Who, and even him hamming up Morbius. I like Matt Smith better. Upon a second rewatch, I really just got appreciation for Paddy, his character, a lot more the second rewatch.
Yeah, Millie Alcock's who I'm talking about, and I'm not sure that I've seen her in anything else actually. I'll check out her credits, but yeah, I just thought she was so good in this role.
Definitely.
She really nailed the part, and that's not a role of that size for an actress of that age. Not easy to bring a performance like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was her first job, but it was one of her first. Let's have a quick look, actually.
I think she's actually in her early 20s here. She just kind of looks very young.
Well, now, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. She'd done a fair bit before House of Dragon. Okay, well, that's why she's good then. Done a fair bit. But I think it's fair to say that, yeah, The Reckoning, that's right. I saw her in that, didn't I? I did see her in The Reckoning. Yeah. Which was, it was all right. It was just sort of like the ending, not that great. But yeah, she's good. But she's really good in that. I would have been quite happy if she had played the role the whole way through, personally, with the whole thing of them not really like aging and stuff. But maybe they just thought, seeing as her and Matt Smith like end up having it off, that's probably deemed a bit. Maybe we should get an older actress in for that.
Rhys Ifans as well. He very surprised me about how he comes across very much more classier than his usual roles. Because when you see Rhys Ifans in the film, he's always kind of this horny Cockney guy, like, I just want to swing my hips and get in them fucking birds, mate. It's so different to how he plays.
He's very good in it.
Yeah.
He's very good. I'm excited. I'm excited for the next season. I can't wait to see. Are we getting 2 episodes at once on the first?
To my knowledge,
Yeah, I'm still a few episodes away on the first season. I just haven't had a chance to proper catch up with it. There's been other stuff I'm trying to get into. But
I've still got about 6 episodes to watch. But I mean, I have seen it. I've seen season 1 already, but you know that was 2 years ago. Quite a lot's happened in my life since then. There's so much I forgot. I'm really glad I rewatched it, and I would recommend everyone who's waiting to see season 2 definitely rewatch it.
Yeah, I like the actress who plays the daughter's friend as well, who ends up becoming her stepmother. She's very good. She's
yeah. There's just 1 episode a week, Lance, and there's 8 episodes. So for next the final episode will be on August 4th, which is my birthday. So cool.
Just 8. Oh, that's a great way to spend your birthday. Do you know what? I'd be quite happy to watch House of Dragon in the cinema. I wish they'd do like a limited cinema release.
I also heard that these episodes are actually longer too. So you're getting less episodes, but also longer episodes. So it kind of evens out then.
Good.
If I find out.
None of this 42 minutes Masters of the Air nonsense. Right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up. So don't forget, we're going to be doing House of Dragon from next Monday onwards. Leroy will be on the panel with us for that, as well as a couple of other people. Blue and I will be back tomorrow night for a very short Acolyte review. And I'll be on Sunday with Band of Brothers. Until then.